Hey everyone! Welcome to the Photography Masterclass. Video 6 of our masterclass is on the fundamentals of composition. I'm sure you're like most of us, you love taking photos, capturing memories, and telling stories through your lens. But have you ever noticed how some photos just seem to stand out and grab your attention, while others fall flat? That's where composition comes in. It's the magic that makes an ordinary photo into a work of art. Composition is all about how you arrange the elements in your image, and it's the key to creating images that are visually appealing, tell a story, and leave a lasting impression. And the best part is, it's not rocket science. With a few simple tips and tricks, you can master the art of composition and create masterpieces yourself. In this video, on the fundamentals of composition, we are discussing about the elements of composition as well as composition techniques. Wait a minute, aren't elements of composition and composition techniques the same thing? Certainly not. These two are actually two different things. Let me explain why. The elements of composition and composition techniques are two different aspects of photography that are important to understand. Elements of composition refer to the basic building blocks of a photograph. This includes things like line, shape, texture, pattern, balance, movement, and so on. These elements work together to create visual interest and convey a message in a photograph. Composition techniques, on the other hand, are the specific ways that photographers use the elements of composition to create a certain look or mood in their images. This can include things like using leading lines to guide the eye, filling the frame to create a sense of intimacy, or using symmetry to create a feeling of stability. In short, elements of composition are the raw materials, and composition techniques are the tools for shaping those materials into a finished product. Both are important for creating effective photographs, and understanding both can help you to become a better photographer. And, before we dive into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our community of photography enthusiasts. With your support, we can continue to bring you the best photography content on YouTube. And without further ado, let's get started with elements of composition. Let's take a look at some of the most popular elements of composition one by one. Line. Lines in photography can greatly impact and enhance the overall composition of a photo. They can guide the viewer's eye, create depth, and convey emotions. An example of how lines can be used in photography is through the use of diagonal lines to create a sense of movement or direction in an image. For example, if you take a photo of a pathway leading towards the distance, the lines of the pathway will naturally guide the viewer's eye towards the focal point of the image. Similarly, the lines of a fence or a row of trees can also be used to create a sense of direction or movement in a photo, while curved lines can evoke a sense of softness and tranquility. Another way to use lines in photography is to create patterns and shapes within the frame. For example, a photo of a cityscape with repeating lines of buildings and roads can create an interesting and visually appealing pattern in the image. Shape. Shapes play a huge role in composing a photo and can greatly impact the overall feeling and message conveyed in the image. Shapes can be used to create patterns, contrast, and symmetry, which can add visual interest and draw the viewer's eye to certain elements in the photo. They can also be used to create balance, define space, and create depth. Whether it's through the use of geometric shapes or organic shapes found in nature, understanding the role of shapes in photography can greatly enhance the final image and make it more visually appealing. For example, if you take a photo of a circular fountain in a park, the circular shape of the fountain will be a prominent and eye-catching element in the image. Similarly, a photo of a symmetrical building with square windows can create a sense of balance and stability in the image. In contrast, a photo of a triangular mountain range can add a sense of dynamism and movement to the image. Form. Form in photography refers to the three-dimensional qualities of objects and subjects in an image, such as their height, width, and depth, as if they're 3D objects. Form can greatly impact the overall composition of a photo, adding depth and dimension to the image. By using lighting, shading, and perspective, photographers can emphasize the form of their subjects and make them appear more solid and tangible. This can create a sense of volume and depth, making the photo more engaging and visually appealing. A great example of using form in photography is through photographing objects that have distinct and recognizable shapes, such as a vase of flowers, a piece of fruit, or a statue. These objects have a defined and recognizable form, which can make the photo more interesting and visually appealing. By carefully lighting and positioning the object in the frame, you can emphasize its form and make it stand out, adding a new dimension to your photos. Texture. Texture in photography can add depth, interest, and dimension to an image. By capturing the unique surface qualities of subjects and objects in a photo, texture can make them appear more tangible and real. Different textures, such as rough, smooth, or bumpy, can evoke different emotions and feelings, making the photo more engaging and memorable. For example, a photo of a rough, craggy rock formation can evoke a sense of ruggedness and strength, while a photo of a smooth, silky fabric can evoke a sense of luxury and elegance. Using texture in your compositions can help to tell a story and add an extra layer of interest to your images. Pattern. Patterns in photography can be a fun and eye-catching element to play with. They can add visual interest, balance, and a sense of rhythm to an image. Patterns can come in many forms, such as repeating shapes, lines, or colors, and can be found in both natural and man-made environments. By incorporating patterns into your compositions, you can lead the viewer's eye through the image and create a sense of movement and flow. Plus, patterns can also add a touch of creativity and personality to your photos, making them stand out. A great example of using pattern in photography is through capturing a repeating design in nature, such as ripples in the sand at the beach, the branches of a tree, or the tiles on a mosque. These repeating elements create a sense of rhythm and movement, leading the viewer's eye through the photo. Direction. Direction refers to the way that elements in a photograph are moving or pointing, and can have a significant impact on the overall feeling or mood of the image. For example, having elements in the photo pointing towards a particular subject can direct the viewer's attention to that subject, while having elements pointing in different directions can create a feeling of chaos or confusion. In photography, it's important to consider the direction of elements, as it can help to emphasize the subject, guide the viewer's eye through the image, and set the tone of the scene. An example could be in a portrait photo. Having the subject's gaze directed towards the camera can make the viewer feel more connected to the subject, while in a landscape photo, having elements pointing towards a specific focal point can add depth and interest to the image. Symmetry and asymmetry. Symmetry refers to when elements in a photo are evenly balanced on either side of a central axis. This type of composition can create a sense of stability and order, and is often used in architectural photography to highlight the beauty of a building's design. A great example of using symmetry in photography is a photo of a symmetrical building, such as a palace or a cathedral, where the lines, shapes, and forms are all balanced on either side of a central axis. On the other hand, asymmetry refers to when elements in a photo are not evenly balanced, which can add tension, interest, and visual appeal to a photo. A great example of using asymmetry in photography is a photo of a street scene, where one side of the photo may be dominated by a tall building, while the other side is left blank. This type of composition adds visual interest, drawing the viewer's eye through the photo and exploring the different elements within the shot. Balance. Balance in photography refers to the arrangement of visual elements in a way that creates a sense of equilibrium and stability. This can be achieved through various means, such as symmetry, where elements are arranged in an evenly spaced and mirrored fashion, or through asymmetry, where elements are intentionally placed in a way that creates an unbalanced look. Having a sense of balance in a photo can greatly impact the overall feel and mood of the image. For example, a photo with a strong sense of balance and symmetry can give off a feeling of stability and calmness. while a photo with a more unbalanced composition can evoke a sense of excitement or tension. An example of balance in photography can be seen in a photo of a sunset where the sky takes up the majority of the frame, but the reflection of the sun on the water provides a strong, symmetrical element to balance out the scene. Proportion. Proportion is the placement of objects within the frame. It helps to create a sense of harmony and visual interest in a photo. The importance of proportion lies in its ability to guide the viewer's eye and create a sense of balance in the image. For example, in portrait photography, the subject's face should occupy a significant portion of the frame, but not so much that it becomes overwhelming or takes away from other elements in the image. Similarly, in landscape photography, it can be useful to maintain a sense of proportion between the foreground, midground, and background elements. This can help to create a more dynamic and visually engaging photo. By paying attention to proportion, photographers can add a sense of harmony and balance to their images, making them more aesthetically pleasing. Emphasis. Emphasis is an important aspect of photography composition as it draws the viewer's attention to a specific part of the image. It creates a focal point and helps to reinforce the intended message or mood of the photograph. By emphasizing certain elements, you can guide the viewer's eye and create a more impactful and memorable image. For example, you can use contrast, color, size, or placement to emphasize a subject in the photo. For instance, a close-up shot of a red flower against a green background creates emphasis on the flower and draws the viewer's attention to it. Similarly, a large object in the foreground of a landscape photo can also create emphasis and add depth to the image. Movement. Movement in photography can add a dynamic and lively element to an image, drawing the viewer's eye and creating a sense of motion. The way movement is captured can greatly impact the overall feel of a photo. For example, like discussed in our video on exposure, a fast shutter speed can freeze motion, while a slow shutter speed can create a blur, conveying a sense of motion and energy. Incorporating movement into your compositions can add interest and excitement to your images, whether it's a single moving subject or multiple elements in motion. For instance, capturing water in motion or people walking in a busy street can all add movement to your photos and make them more dynamic. Depth. Depth is an important aspect of composition in photography that adds a sense of dimension and perspective to an image. By creating a sense of depth, photographers can lead the viewer's eye into and through a scene, creating a more engaging and dynamic image. For example, if you want to create a sense of depth in your photo, you can use techniques such as including foreground elements, creating leading lines, or using a shallow depth of field. This can help to draw the viewer into the image and make the scene feel more alive and real. In summary, incorporating depth into your compositions can make your photos more interesting and captivating, and is definitely something worth considering when you're out shooting. Simplicity. Simplicity in photography refers to the use of minimal elements to create a powerful image. When composing a photograph, it's important to consider what's necessary and what can be left out to create a clean, uncluttered composition. By focusing on a few key elements and keeping the background simple, you can draw the viewer's eye to the subject and create a more impactful image. For example, consider a photograph of a single flower in a field. By keeping the background simple and uncluttered, the viewer is able to focus on the flower and its unique beauty. The simplicity of the composition highlights the beauty and form of the flower and creates a powerful image that is easy to understand and appreciate. In conclusion, simplicity is an important element of photography that can help you create strong, impactful images. By keeping your compositions clean and uncluttered, you can draw the viewer's eye to the most important elements of your image and create a more memorable experience for them. Background. The background in a photograph can greatly impact the overall composition and meaning of the image. A strong background can draw the viewer's attention to the subject, while a cluttered or distracting background can take away from the subject. The background can also add depth, texture, and context to an image. For example, having a blurred and softly lit background can help to draw attention to the subject's face and create a sense of depth. In landscape photography, an interesting and relevant background can help to reinforce the mood or message of the image. In these cases, the background is an important element of composition that can be used to support and enhance the subject. Negative space. Negative space refers to the area around and between the subjects in a photo. It's just as important as the subjects themselves and can greatly impact the overall composition of a photo. In photography, negative space can be used to draw the viewer's eye to the subject, create a sense of balance, and add a sense of calm and simplicity to the image. For example, a portrait of a person with plenty of negative space behind them can give the photo a sense of mystery and make the subject stand out. On the other hand, a photo with a cluttered background can be distracting and take away from the subject. So, paying attention to negative space can greatly improve the impact and importance of a photo. Subject placement. Subject placement is a crucial aspect of photography composition that refers to where the main subject is positioned within the frame. It can have a significant impact on the overall look and feel of a photo. For example, placing the subject in the center of the frame can create a strong sense of stability and symmetry, while positioning it off-center can add a sense of dynamism and movement. Similarly, placing the subject low in the frame can make it appear more grounded, while positioning it high in the frame can make it appear more powerful and commanding. Overall, subject placement is a key tool for controlling the focus and impact of a photo, and it is essential for photographers to carefully consider this element when composing their shots. Having discussed the main elements of composition, let's move on to important composition techniques in the next video. Stay tuned. If you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe, and also enable the bell button to receive notifications. Until next time, happy shooting.